Hello Brawlers and welcome. Today's going to be a bit of a different video where we'll discuss Bakugan house rules. If you're familiar with the term in TTRPGs, it's basically that. If not, house rules are rules players decide to use that are not in the official rulebooks. They could be from other versions of the game or completely made up by the players. Of course, many of these rules are very specific, and everybody likes their own, so we'll just be going over some of our favorites in this video. As mentioned in our How to Play video, common house rules include G-Power limits and G-Power totals. What this means is that some players impose a limit on how high or low the G-Power of their Bakugan can be, or say that the combined G-Power of all their Bakugan that they're battling with must be below a certain number. Some players even do both for a very specific experience, although you'll usually only need one or the other. These rules are obviously meant to help balance the game and prevent egregiously strong or weak Bakugan from giving one player the advantage, and we personally like playing with G-Power limits on our Bakugan to emulate a certain feel, most notably specific parts of the show. A similar rule, although not quite the same, is the limitation on which season of Bakugan, cards, or support pieces may be used. You've seen in our videos thus far that we've only been using Bakugan and cards from the first two seasons, Battle Brawlers and New Vestroya, and no support pieces. At home, you might decide that you do want to play with certain support pieces, or that you'll only allow the use of Gundalian and Invaders cards, but any kind of Bakugan. Or you could do any other combination of things. Implementing rules like this can help balance the game, since many cards have bonkers strategies that are enabled by combining them with cards from different seasons, but it can also help to facilitate the vibes like we mentioned before, or just create a really unique experience you may not have had playing the game before. A rule that many players think exists in the modern version of the game is critical K.O.s. A critical KO is when you knock your enemy's Bakugan off of a gate card and then stand on it to win it without even having to battle. This rule does exist in the original HSP rules as well as the later Bakutech rules, and it's pretty simple to port over if you want to use it in any of the main legacy versions of the game. Just be careful trying to do this, as critical KOs can encourage some crazy rolls that send Bakugan flying off the table. This can mess with their external parts and even their magnets, so we urge you to be careful, even though we know you're gonna try it at least once. Apollinaire knows we did. Next is a fan favorite, setting additional gate cards. If you've seen the first season of the show, then you know that battles rarely stick to just 2 gate cards being set in the arena. The original rule set for the HSP cards included rules for how to do this, but many people just do it like the show or the Battle Brawlers video game, meaning the most common implementation of this rule allows a player to set an additional gate card in the arena directly before they roll their Bakugan. We didn't do this in our first few brawls, since we were sticking strictly to the most modern rules, but you can bet we'll be doing it in the future. This definitely changes the balance of the game, but it goes a long way to making play feel like the show. Which, let's be real, didn't we all want that as kids? Another rule that emulates the first season of the show is what we're calling the knockout rule. This isn't a very popular house rule and thus doesn't have an official name, but it's taken from something similar in the HSP rules and from the show. The idea here is that you do not fight to acquire 3 gate cards in your used pile. Instead, when a Bakugan is defeated, it is removed from the game and cannot be added back to the unused pile or otherwise be used in any other capacity. Once all 3 of your Bakugan have been knocked out, you lose. Whichever player is the last to have Bakugan still in play is the winner. This obviously changes a lot of how the game plays, and to most people this is more of a gimmick than a legit way to play, but give it a shot and see if you enjoy it. We recommend that if you do try playing this way, then you might also want to impose a G-Power limit or total, or limit which season of Bakugan and cards can be used, as things can get out of hand quickly if one player has super high G-Power Bakugan and the other doesn't. But, you know, we're not your mom, you can do what you want. We mentioned the big game in our How to Play Bakugan video, which is a rule set where everything is doubled. 6 Bakugan, 6 gate cards, and 6 ability cards, with the players needing 6 gate cards in their used pile to claim victory. A house rule from this Reddit post, linked in the description, puts a unique spin on this called the small big game. Yes, it is a funny name. The small big game is like the big game, except each player battles with only 3 Bakugan like in a normal game. Generally, support pieces are not doubled either, meaning each player may have up to 2. Everything else functions as the big game does. Technically, this is more of a format than a house rule, but we figured we'd talk about it here regardless, as we've played with these rules and it's quite fun. These are just our favorite house rules, but there are plenty more people have made and even other variants of the ones presented here. And of course, if there are any you think should have been in this video, let us know in the comments. We're more than happy to make a part 2 if there are enough, and we'll be trying out some of these rules going forward. Let us know what your favorites are. That's all for now. See ya!